Hey, what's going on? This is Jay Hernandez at the University of St. Thomas Veteran Success Center. Today, I'm here with Nick Parker from the Vet Center. Thank you for coming and having this conversation with me.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course. But I want to get down to business. What is the Vet Center? I know a lot of people hear Vet Center, and there's a couple different locations. Will you kind of tell me about some of the services you guys provide and some of the locations?
Absolutely. So what we do with the Vet Center is we provide free readjustment counseling for veterans, for active duty, for reservists, and for their families. So it's everything from PTSD, combat trauma, military sexual trauma, marriage counseling, anger management, depression, anxiety, bereavement, readjustment, all those services. Some of the good things about the Vet Center, we're free.
Free is
and
good.
Right? And a lot of our locations, we have veteran counselors, we have civilian counselors, male, female, so we've got a little bit of everything. We don't do any kind of prescriptions. Usually our wait times are going to be a little bit quicker than the VA, whether that's maybe a community outpatient clinic or major hospital around here. And in my opinion, one of our best things is everything is completely confidential. So for instance, if you come into my office, you work with our counselors, you work with me, and that information stays in my office. So VA doesn't have access to it. Your command, if you're active duty or reservist, doesn't have access to it. Other vet centers don't. You get to control wherever your information goes. As soon as you need to access it, you just sign off on it, get right over to you.
You said a lot of good things in there, but I want to talk about eligibility. I know we were talking a little earlier about some things have changed about veterans using education benefits. Will you tell me about who's eligible in that education piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So eligibility can be determined by the office. And so major eligibilities are going to be if you've been to a combat zone or you've been on a combat support mission or anything like that. If you've ever experienced military sexual trauma, Coast Guard drug interdiction teams, UAV operators, medical personnel, and then our newest one is going to be if you are a veteran that's using education benefits. So whether that's voc rehab, VRNE, GI Bill, post 9/11, any of that stuff. You'll have access to the Vet Center for free counseling services for the length of your, for the amount of time that you still have access to your education benefits.
Cool. That's really good to know because I know sometimes students or veterans will wait a while to use their veteran and education benefits, so they lose that VA time, and then they get on. So yeah, that's perfect. And you were mentioning some wait times, which I understand. So what is the ideal time for a veteran to reach out and contact you? Like how far in advance do we need to do this?
I would say
As soon as possible, probably.
I would say one thing that you could use the Vet Center for is not just for counseling services. So what I do is outreach for the office. My job is to get veterans connected to the Vet Center, but also take an approach to where I try and get veterans the help that they need. So whether that is you need information about the VA, if you have someone who works in claims, I do a good job of trying to network with all of my community partners. I know mental health may not be at the forefront of every veteran's need, especially once you get out. I know a lot of veterans are looking into education, they're looking into employment, they're looking into trying to get their benefits and claims and all that stuff settled. I know a lot of people in those fields. So you could use the Vet Center as a resource, as kind of a hub for resources. And like I said, we also do counseling services. So I would say if you ever have questions, whether it's related to the veteran affairs, whether it's related to community partners and networks here in the Houston area, if you're looking for counseling services, if you have questions, give the Vet Center a call. We're open every day. It's not a federal holiday. We've got a lot of counselors that work after hours. So our biggest goal is to try and meet the veterans at their need. So if you're going to school and you can't do a 9 a.m. group on Tuesday, that's fine. We've got people that will come in, they come in late and they stay late. So that way we can try and bridge any of those gaps or any, clear any obstacles that veterans may face.
That's really good to know. I think my other question to you would to be if a veteran is feeling hesitant, or they think VA or a vet center and something with the VA, and they've had an experience or they've heard something and they're not quite sure about the vet center, what kind of recommendations or advice would you give to have them reach out?
I would say simply just reach out. At the end of the day, you are going to come across a lot of people. A lot of people have a lot of different experiences. I've talked to veterans that have had wonderful experiences, no problems whatsoever with the VA. So my suggestion is to always just reach out. A lot of these services do not expire. A lot of these services have been around for a long time. They're going to continue to be around. So whether you may not be in the right space, you may not have the scheduling conflicts, whatever it is, just take that leap. Give us a try. Give the VA a try. Just reach out to people that have used these services, have accessed these services, know people within these services, and that's it. Just give us a try.
Will do, and we'll make sure we get all your contact information.
Absolutely.
And put it in the description below. So if anybody is curious and wants to reach out to Nick or just the vet center in general, look into the description below, and it's gonna have all his information. And I'll leave it up to you to close this out. Do you have any last words? Anything else you want to mention?
The biggest thing I would say is I'm a veteran. I have not worked for the vet center or the VA for the entire time that I've been a veteran. I have gone through a lot of these struggles, and I use that as a way to motivate myself to help veterans out. So at the end of the day, if you have any questions about anything, you could always feel free to reach out to my office. I'll give you my number real quick. It is 713-523-0884. I make a point that any veteran that I talk to walks away knowing more information than they came to me with. I've gathered a lot of information about the vet center, about the VA, about being a veteran, Houston Life, all that stuff. I've gathered a lot of that information over these 9 years, and typically the hard way. And my whole philosophy is I just want to help you out. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to reach out to Jay, and we'll do our very best to get you out.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
Nick's will be hanging out with us for about a couple hours, so if you are in the area, feel free to stop by.